Mr. Henson. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. I'm just a little overwhelmed today after the morning Jamie and I had. That's why I decided to bring him in today. I thought maybe you might be able to help him.
I'm sorry you guys have had a rough day. Jamie, how have you felt about today?
I'm fine. I didn't do anything wrong. I just talked to him the way he always talks to me.
So you feel disrespected, is that right?
Yeah.
What makes you feel disrespected too, Mr. Henson?
Yes, we're also having other issues with getting homework and school work done, as well as other behavior issues such as throwing things when he's angry. The other day, I told him to clean his room and he screamed no at me and ran out the front door. I ran after him and screamed at him to come inside because he didn't do what I told him to, but he ignored me and went to his friend's house.
That's not even what happened. He's lying.
I think it might be beneficial to meet with you both separately first and then come together and see what we can agree to. How does that sound?
Okay, I can do that.
Whatever.
Do you see what I'm talking about? I'm at my wit's end. I have no idea how to control him anymore. He always has an attitude. It's so draining. It is like this from the moment I wake up in the morning until I close my eyes at night. And I just wake up in the next morning already angry.
I can see that Jamie's behavior is becoming overwhelming for you lately.
Yes, and I don't know how to fix it.
Has Jamie always been angry in nature, or is this a new behavior?
No, he used to be such a happy kid, but over the last 6 months, he has just gotten angrier and his fuse is shorter. He doesn't think he has to listen to me anymore, and I can't handle any more stress. I just started this new job at the beginning of this year, and I'm already working crazy hours. It doesn't help the time I am home with him. He doesn't listen or do anything that he's supposed to.
So you are already stressed from the new job, and this behavior is just making the stress at home increase too?
Yes, and if it doesn't stop being disrespectful to me, he's going to grow up and be just as disrespectful as an adult. I can't let that happen, but no matter what I do, it doesn't help.
So you're afraid this behavior is leading him down a bad road that will mess up his future?
Yes, what do I do?
Let's start with what hasn't worked for you, and maybe we can go from there. Will that work?
Sure.
First though, can you identify any changes that may have occurred around the time his behavior started to decline?
I can't think of anything. He's been at the same school, he loves his teacher, he has the same friends. Things used to be so great at home. He did whatever he was supposed to and made good grades. There were no issues.
Does mom have the same issues with him as well?
His mom isn't around as much. We split up about a year ago. She moved back in with her mom across the country and decided to leave him with me so he could keep going to the same school.
I see. So his mom left a year ago and you started a new job 6 months ago. Tell me a little bit more about your job.
Well, since his mother left, I have had to find work with more pay. Unfortunately, that increase in pay came with more responsibility and longer hours. Now, instead of being home every day at 3, I'm not home until 7, and a lot of Saturdays I get called into for emergencies.
That sounds like a lot of sacrifice to make ends meet. What does Jamie do in the afternoons after school?
He rides the bus home and does his homework, and watches TV until I get home, I guess. Then I feed him dinner and put him to bed.
So you don't get much time together in the afternoons, do you?
No, but he doesn't act like he wants to spend time with me anyway. I don't think it bothers him.
So you mentioned that you have tried everything to change Jamie. What have you tried so far and what happened?
Well, I grounded him the first time and I really thought that was going to work. But as soon as he earned his stuff back, it was the same behavior and attitude. Then I tried rewarding him with things he wanted if he was good, and that didn't work either. I threatened him, reasoned with him, begged him, tried to explain things, and nothing is working. I just feel so hopeless.
It certainly seems that you are doing everything you can think of to help Jamie, but you still feel as if nothing is making a difference.
Right.
May I ask you an odd question?
Sure.
Let's imagine that we finish this meeting and you drive home with Jamie. You sit down and make dinner, which he eats in his room alone like he usually does. After you clean up and take a shower, you knock on his door and tell him goodnight. You lay in bed and read a book and unwind for a little bit, finally falling asleep yourself.
Okay.
Then, during the night, while you're sleeping, a miracle happens.
What?
And it's not just any miracle. This miracle makes the problems that brought you in here disappear, just like that. However, because you were sleeping, you don't know the miracle has happened. So you wake up in the morning, after the miracle happened during the night, all the problems that brought you here are gone just like that. What is the very first thing you notice after you wake up? What are the little changes you start to notice that tell you that the problem is gone?
Well, Jamie won't be angry anymore and hiding in his room all the time.
What will Jamie be doing instead?
He'd spend more time with me in the afternoons and have a pleasant attitude.
Okay, what else would be different?
Well, I guess he wouldn't yell so much.
How would he communicate instead?
He would sit down and tell me how he is feeling.
Would anything else be different?
He would be making good grades and doing his chores on his own without me having to remind him consistently.
So we're going to rate the behaviors that brought you to my office for help today as 0 on a scale of 0 to 10. And the 10 will be the behaviors that you just described as your miracles. Next week, we will reevaluate where you find yourself on that scale, and we can do that again each week. How does that sound to you?
I'm willing to try it.
Okay, you've given me some ideas of the direction you would like to see your relationship with Jamie move toward. I'm going to assign some homework for you to do over the course of the next week called Thought Records.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Well, it starts with a triggering situation, such as Jamie telling you no and slamming the door. So we will identify that one first. What is the first thought that pops into your head when he does that?
He doesn't respect me or any authority for that matter.
And what emotional response does that trigger in you?
It makes me angry.
And is there any evidence against the idea that he has no respect for you or authority?
Well, he complies with his coaches during football, and he's always been a very respectful kid growing up.
So then we would identify the cognitive distortion in this thought process. After reading this list of cognitive distortions, which one do you think applies to your statement about Jamie having no respect for you or authority?
I guess it would be an overgeneralization.
Okay, so what would be a different realistic alternative to explain Jamie's behavior?
Maybe he is having a problem with his mom leaving or me working longer hours.
Okay, great. You get the idea. I'd like for you to keep a journal and write down any time you and Jamie have a conflict, no matter how big or small, and write down everything we just went over. Then we can discuss them together next week. Will that work for you?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, I'm going to speak with Jamie a few minutes and then I'll bring you both in together. Is that okay?
Sure.
Jamie, I can sense you don't want to be here, but I'm hoping I can help you and your dad get along better at home. Would that make you happy?
I guess so.
Well, why don't you tell me what's been going on? Is there anything bothering you?
Not really. I just don't have much to say to him. I don't ever see him anymore. And when I do see him, he's always yelling at me about something. I can't ever do anything right. It's either him complaining about my grades or that I'm in my room. Or that he doesn't like me. Doesn't like my attitude. I honestly don't even care anymore. I just stay in my room so I don't have to listen to him.
So you feel like your dad is always getting on to you about something. Do you feel like you guys spend enough time together?
We used to before Mom left. We used to all do stuff together. We cooked together. We would watch movies on the weekends. We always went out as a family. Now that Mom is gone, I never see Dad.
A lot has changed since your mom left, hasn't it?
Yeah, sometimes I think Dad is thinks I'm the reason she's gone. Maybe he's mad at me and that's why he works so much. Maybe he stays away so he doesn't have to see me.
So you believe that your dad thinks it's your fault that your mom left and that's why y'all don't get along as well anymore?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Let me ask you this. If your dad was to say the same thing, that it was his fault your mom left and that you're angry with him for that reason, what would you say?
I would say that it's crazy. Mom just wasn't happy and we could all tell. I could never say it was his fault.
Can you think of another reason that you and your dad aren't getting along as well right now?
Well, he's been working a lot and he does look sad sometimes.
How likely is it that his behavior is 100% directed at you? Is there something else that could be playing a role in how your dad is acting?
Well, I did see him crying in his office the other night. I woke up at 3 a.m. to get some water and he was still in there crying, but he didn't see me. I think he might miss Mom still.
Do you think that might affect him during the day?
I guess so.
How do you feel about your dad's new job?
I don't like it. I never see him anymore. Things would probably be better if we could at least watch a movie together at night or go off on the weekend. But he never wants to spend any time with me anymore.
And you want to spend more time with him?
Of course I do.
What do you think would happen if you told your dad you wanted to spend more time with him?
I don't know. Maybe he would say no or that he didn't want to. That would make me really sad.
That is scary. Has your dad ever said anything like that to you before?
Well, no. He just is so angry all the time. I try not to talk to him unless I really have to.
How does it make you feel when your dad yells at you?
It makes me sad and then I get angry back. We usually just end up going back and forth until one of us goes into another room and slams the door.
So it never resolves. It just blows up until one of you walks away?
Yeah, and then we wake up the next morning and barely speak. If we do, we just act like it never happened until he gets mad again.
How does that affect school for you?
I haven't been sleeping well at night. That's why I was up getting water at 3 a.m. So I have been falling asleep in class. Then I don't know how to do the work. I'm just falling behind. I don't want to say anything to Dad though because he would just get mad. I've been staying up at night when I can't sleep and trying to study, but I'm just always tired.
So you have fallen in school because you aren't sleeping well and falling asleep in school. Is that right?
Yeah,
Jamie, can I ask you an odd question?
sure.
Let's imagine that we finish this meeting and you and your dad drive home. You go straight to your room with dinner and listen to music until your dad goes to sleep. Maybe you get up and get a glass of water and take a shower, then go back to your room. You lay in bed, text a couple of friends before you go to bed. Then, during the night, while you're sleeping, a miracle happens. And it's not just any miracle. This miracle makes the problems that brought you in here disappear, just like that. However, because you were sleeping, you don't know the miracle has happened. So you wake up in the morning after the miracle happened during the night. All the problems that brought you here are gone, just like that. What is the very first thing you notice after you wake up? What are the little changes you start to notice that tell you the problem's gone?
Well, Dad would be up cooking bacon and eggs for me before school like he used to with Mom.
What else is different?
He won't be as angry anymore.
How will your dad feel instead?
He would be smiling and telling corny jokes like he used to.
Can you think of anything else?
Well, he won't be so naggy about school or hounding me about chores.
How will he communicate that he wants you to do something then?
Well, I would just do it. What I'm supposed to because I'd be sleeping at home and will know how to do my schoolwork.
Anything else?
Will we do stuff together on the weekends again?
Okay, so we're going to rate the behaviors that brought you to my office for help today as 0 on a scale of 0 to 10. And the 10 will be the behaviors that you just described as your miracles. Next week, we can reevaluate where you find yourself on that scale, and we can do that again each week. How does that sound to you?
Okay.
Okay, you've given me some ideas of the changes you'd like to see between you and your dad. I'm going to assign some homework for you to do over the course of the next week called thought records.
What's that?
Well, it starts with a triggering situation, such as your dad screaming at you about your homework or your grades, so we'll identify that one first. What is the first thought that pops into your head when he does that?
Well, he's just mean.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me angry.
And is there any evidence against the idea that he is just mean?
Well, he does bring me home my favorite candy bar on Saturdays when he has to leave for a work emergency.
Okay, so then we would identify what we call the cognitive distortion in that thought process. After reading this list of cognitive distortions, which one do you think applies to how you feel about your dad's behavior?
The 6th one.
Dichotomous thinking?
Yeah, that one.
So you feel like it's an all or nothing thinking. He's either all mean or all nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be a different, realistic idea that explains why your dad reacts that way?
Well, I did make a 50 on my test. He probably just wants me to do better. I used to make straight A's.
Okay, great. You get the idea. I'd like for you to keep a journal and write down any time you and your dad have a conflict, no matter how big or small, and write down everything we just went over. Then we can discuss them together next week. Will that work for you?
Yes, I can do that.